me get over here. Great. In October of last year, Elon Musk tweeted that users of X should feel free to upload images of their X-rays or their MRIs for Grok, their new AI, to analyze. Okay, I'm not going to do that, but it does pose an intriguing possibility. And Elon Musk is not the only one who has eccentric thoughts, nor is he the only one in the AI industry. Indeed, there are many major players. Currently in the world, the United States and China lead in AI, with Britain and France leading other smaller research companies. But for today, we're going to focus on the major players, which would be the United States and China, because these two countries have the most funding, the most engineers, and the best models. But considering that not only does AI pose immense technical and economic opportunities, but also military and strategic ones, it becomes critical that we ask today's questions. Which nation is winning the AI race? The answer is clearly the United States, because we possess all of the advantages. But that could change. The advantages are more specifically, first, company innovation and model technology, second, technical talent, and lastly, our overwhelming hardware advantage. But first, let's talk about company innovation. The United States has a lot of leading tech companies. Indeed, an Axios article published pretty recently listed out the major AI companies that were leading the race. All of them were American. Now, more specifically, what does it mean for a company to lead the AI race? As The Economist specifies, on January 20th of 2025, OpenAI just released a new model called O3 that pretty much crushes the ARC-AGI test, which is a test that is considered unbeatable by many other LLMs. Now, it did require a lot of money and computational power, but it shows just how dominant O3 really is when it comes to solving math and technical problems. Aside from that, we can compare the United States and China directly in this regard with model technology. As LM Arena tells us today, DeepSeek, China's best performing model, is at 8th. All the other models above it are American models. It's clear that users of LM Arena, which is a Stanford project that ranks AIs, even users with no technical experience can tell the difference between the best AIs and the more mediocre ones, showing just how dominant this American advantage is. Consumers are going to prefer the AIs that can get them the best queries and the best responses, meaning that in this regard, the United States clearly leads. However, that could change because DeepSeek recently released a model that claims to have similar performance to O3, OpenAI's best model, while running at significantly lower cost. Cost is becoming ever more important, so the United States needs to stay on its toes if it wants to keep ahead of China. But next, an important area of AI is the people who actually make the AI, leading us to the second reason that the United States is currently winning the AI race. It's because we have far more technical talent. As the Economic Policy Institute explains on March 11th of 2023, the United States gets about 34,000 H-1B visas every year. H-1B visas are people who come over from across the world with the best technical talent and bring it to the United States. China has no comparable program, and indeed, they don't have as much technical talent. Some of their engineers actually leave China and come to the United States to work for Microsoft, OpenAI, and Google. Furthermore, the US News ranking, a global university ranking, tells us that Chinese universities are actually starting to catch up, meaning that the United States also needs to stay on its toes in this regard. However, that's not quite happening yet, because as the New York Times contends on March 22nd of 2024, the United States produces about half of the top AI talent in the world, while China is only at 1/3. They also note that China's numbers have been rising year over year while the United States has stayed the same, meaning that even though the United States is currently winning the technical talent war, China is approaching. But lastly, possibly the biggest reason that the United States is actually winning the AI war is because of our immense hardware advantage. The last and final reason that the United States is winning is because we have simply much better computer chips. As the Center for Security and Emerging Technology predicted all the way back in April of 2020, They said that chips would be important in AI. They were right, because now Nvidia has gone from being worth a few $100 billion to trillions, $3.4 trillion. Those trillions of dollars come from AI companies that need to use their chips. Unfortunately for China, as the MIT Tech Review specifies just yesterday, Chinese models are inherently restrained by their inferior chip technology. Namely, China's chips are so far behind that they actually have to use American NVIDIA-made chips. And the MIT review continues that when training DeepSeek, the company actually had to use chips that were only half as powerful as the chips that OpenAI and Google are allowed to use, meaning that they had to find some creative workarounds. But this might actually turn out to be a silver lining for China, because in trying to find workarounds, they've actually made their model more efficient, possibly, than OpenAI's O3. So even though the United States has a massive advantage in this regard, meaning that we can choke off China in chip production, it might not last, because if China can make do with less computer hardware, then they just might catch up in other ways too. So it's when recalling that trillions of dollars of market capitalization have been entirely created by artificial intelligence, it becomes ever more important that we return to today's question. Which country is winning the AI race? The answer is clearly the United States, but just for now, because China seems like it could be catching up. This is in three main areas. First, in company and LLM performance. Second, in technical talent. And lastly, in hardware. So while Elon Musk's Grok may be able to process images, its capabilities could grow ever more, along with the United States and China's.
All right. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you.
57.
By the way, what school